We're going to learn another beautiful piece of Zera Shimshon, new parsha that we started, new chumash that we started, chumash Devarim, parsha Devarim. It should be a new beginning. As it is a new beginning, it should be a new beginning for Klal Yisrael, that these days of mourning should turn into Yamim, days of happiness and joy. It's going to be, all the beautiful prophecies will be Mekuyim. And Rabbi Yisai, so now in this parsha, we have a beautiful message we're going to bring out, and that is how we're supposed to get to Avas Yisrael by having an appreciation and honoring every Yid, understanding what it means to be a Yid, and how a Yid really wants to do good, and anything that he's doing which is not so good is not him. He's not connected to the actual Chet. He's only connected to some connection of the Chet, but not the real Chet itself, because that's not him. And that's the big insight we're going to learn over here, and we're going to see this in the first pasuk, and especially with the words of the Zera Shimshon. And it's an Ois Aleph and the Zera Shimshon. Rabbi Yisai, listen carefully. Eila Dvorim, the parsha begins with a pasuk that is very, very perplexing, because it says over there that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to Klal Yisrael these words in all these places in one shot, and it doesn't make any sense, because you can't be in all these places in one shot. Eila Dvorim Shediber Moshe Kol Yisrael, where? Beivar Yarden, Bamidbar, Barov, Moil Sup, Ben Poron, Ben Toifel, Velavon, Vachatzeyu is Vidi Zohav. Not only can't you be in all these places at once, there are some that are not even places. Rashi brings that Chazarnu al Kol HaMikra, Veloy Matzanu, Makom Sheshmoi Toifel Velavon, there's no such place. Never mentioned. In that case, it can't be places. It can't mean that we're in one place that has all these places. Because that can't be, and they're not all places. So what is it? It's Musar. It's Musar that Moshe Rabbeinu is giving. Eila Dvorim is Divit HaChoches, like Rashi says, and Dibur is Lashon Kasha. It's Musar. And what goes on over here? And he counts over here all the places that there they angered the Rabbeinu Shalom Achmana Litzlan in those places. And those are the names. Each place denotes another Chet. Like Paran is talking about the Chet HaMeraglim, where it came from Midbar Paran, and so on and so forth, all the different words of the pasuk. Each one is another Chet. And also very similar to this, it says in the Unklis, which is really the Makar of Rashi, and in Targum Yerusham Menuziel, Targum Yerushalmi, it all goes with this idea. And since over here, the Divit HaChoches, and Moshe Rabbeinu is counting all the places. Therefore, he closed up the things, and only mentioned them by hint, because of the covenant of Klal Yisrael. So it's like Moshe Rabbeinu was hiding the Chatoim of Klal Yisrael because that's not covered for them. So there's a very big question over here, and that is what the Sifsei Chachamim already asked, and the Zera Shimshon asked the same question, and it's a very famous question. If Moshe Rabbeinu was looking for covered Shal Yisrael, so true. The first pasuk, nuts. No one chaps. We're talking about Avinus. But if you go further, you see in this week's parsha, in pasuk Chav Beis, in this parak, you see at length the whole Aveira of the Meraglim. And when you go to Parshas Ekev, you see at length the Aveira of the Egel, and the Aveira of the Machlokes of Korach. So everything is so explicit and very, very mefurish. Rabbi Zai, so what's going to be over here? Where's Kvoidam Shal Yisrael? So here comes Sifsei Chachamim and says a beautiful teretz, V'yesh Loima. The Lotach Nokat Rashi Kan, it's Meduyik in Rashi the teretz. Rashi says over here, Umono Kan Kol HaMekoimos. He counted all the places. In other words, this pasuk is not just one place for one Aveira. It's all the Aveiras in one shot. And therefore, it's a whole big list. And to say those b'mefurish, that's not Kvoidam Shal Yisrael. Because it shows them, wow, there's such a nation of sinners. Look how much they sinned. But to say just the one Chet, and even you say it at length, that's not a problem. That's what he says over here is a teretz that Devarim mona lekamon befeirush. Avaloi kol hamekoimos. That's not all the places. Avokan mona kol hamekoimos beremes. So here, it was in the Kved of Shal Yisrael. Then there's a very famous teretz, which is brought down in the Meyana Shatayra, over here from the famous Imre Elimelech from Grodzinsk, one of the great rebbes of Poland, one of the great goyim of Poland, and he wants to say the following. He says, Moshe Rabbeinu had a tremendous koyach of teichacha mitoich ahave, as we're going to see soon. And Moshe Rabbeinu, with his mechiach, with love, is dvorim hayotzim min alev nichnasim el alev, words that come from the heart, emanate from the heart, pierce through the heart. And therefore, it brought Klal Yisrael to do tshuva, and not stam tshuva, but tshuva me'ahava. It brought them to really want to become close to the Rebbeinu Shalayla, and woke up the pneumius of the Yid. And then, when it's tshuva me'ahava, these doinois, the averis, turn into zechuyos, into mitzvahs, into merits. Rabbi says, the first pasuk, Moshe Rabbeinu was getting Klal Yisrael to do tshuva. Then they did tshuva me'ahava. Now, all the chatoim are all zechuyos. So we say them even more ba'arichus. We're not only just saying them explicit, but we are saying them at length, because every moment of it is a big, big zechus. Where is the kevart? Sweet vart, and that's what he says. However, Rabbi said, the Zera Shimshon has the kasha, and says the following. He has the kasha. The Mishnah Torah Gufe and Mishnah Torah itself, not only some other place. Has Ziram Kulam Befeirish, she goes over them explicitly. Machlokes Koyrach is in Ekev, Perek Yud Aleph, Pasuk Vav. Meraglim is over here in Perek Aleph, Pasuk Chof Beis, and on. Egel is in Perek Tes, in Ekev, Pasuk Yud Beis, and on. And in that case, what does it make a difference? That he over here was Sosam Esadvarim. What kind of covet is there for Yisrael over here? If later on he's going to say everything more ba'arichos. And what does it mean? Remez, the covet, it seems as the etzem of remez, the actual remez is an Indian of covet. So he says, Muyudikivart. And he says the following. He says, Be'emes, Chazal say, in Medrash, Dvorim Rabba, Parsha Aleph, Ois Dalet, over here, in our Parsha, says the following. That Be'etzem, they really could have heard Techaches from who? From Bilam. Bilam was one who blessed him. But he could have given a good Techaches. But he says if Bilam would give him Techaches, it will become from a hatred. That doesn't emanate into the heart. That doesn't emanate from the heart, and it doesn't enter the heart. It may emanate from the heart of hatred, but that's for sure not going to pierce the heart of Klal Yisrael. They're not going to be Chayzer B'tshuva. And it's also not going to give them Techacha in the proper way, like we're going to say. However, comes Moshe Rabbeinu, and he's the one who's going to be Mashiach. Says the Medrash, because he's Oyavam Shal Yisrael. He loves Klal Yisrael. And when he gives Techacha, they feel it's coming from his deep depths of his heart, and he only wants their good. But not only that, he knows how to give Techacha. He gives them Techacha in a way that he shows them their importance, and shows them their essence, that their essence is really good, and that they really don't want to do bad. And that is what their whole essence is, and everything is just outside. How does he show them that? He shows them that by saying all the chatoim in remez, meaning that all the chatoim are only hints. What does it mean they're only hints? It means they're not connected to the actual chet. It's only a hint of the chet. It's only something on the outside, something which is covering Klal Yisrael on the outside, making them black, like the pasuk says in Shir Hashirim, Shchoiro ani v'nova. I may be black, but I'm really beautiful, because zafasni hashemesh, I was just burnt by this sun, and I'm going to be healed, and it's going to go away, because that's not me. I'm not a blackie. I'm a whitey, and I really want to do good, and I'm connected to good, and that's what Moshe Rabbeinu is really telling Klal Yisrael. The chatoim are only remazim. It's not the real you. You're not connected to the actual chet. You maybe have some connection to some remez of the chet, but that's about it and no more. And this is really what he does. So even afterwards, he's going to say it more barichos. He'll say it with a great length, but he's teaching them that really it's a remez chet. it's only hints to chet. It's not the actual chet. You're not connected to chet. So he says it at length. Once he had said it originally as a remez, he has taught them that there's a kvodim shel Yisrael. And what's kvodim shel Yisrael? They're really connected to the world of true kavod. They're connected to spirituality. They want to be with the Rabbeinu Shalom. This is not the Yid. The Yid is not a sinner. The Yid is a lover of the Rabbeinu Shalom and loves to do Ratzon Abayre, and the Yetzer Hara is only coming from the outside and disturbing us. And like the Gemara says in Brachas Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph, that we we really want to do your will. Umi me'akev. Yes, the Yetzer Hara just disturbs us from it, but really that's not us. And this is the oimik of what's going on over here. And the way to teach with this type of chacha, we find in Parshas Kedoshim, where there you have the pasuk that tells us about Cheshech Techiches HaMisecha. And there it says, V'leisisa olav chet. So there's a word in the Minyan Shel Torah brings from the Chabis Yoyer, some sefer. It says, V'leisisa olav chet, don't make him into a sinner. Don't put on him the chet. Don't make him carry the chet and show and say, oh, you are a great sinner and you don't deserve anything. You are just good for nothing. No, that's not the way to do it. And he brings there a beautiful pasuk in Mishlei, which simple pshat is something else. Pasuk says, Al teicheach letz. Do not give musar to a letz, to a joker. Pen yisnaecha. Maybe he will hate you. Give teichacha to a wise man, and he will love you. So the Vilna Gaon speaks barichas how someone who has chachma really wants to do good and he wants to hear teichacha, whereas the letz who's trying to throw everything off from him and throw the pyric oil is somebody that doesn't want to hear any teichacha, and so on and so forth. That's Pashup Shat. But there's a famous word, and the word goes like this. Al teicheach letz. Don't be moichiach and tell the person you're a letz. You're a joker. You're not connected to reality of life. You're somewhere in joking land. And you're not shaykh to anything. Pen yisnaeka. Because then he might hate you. He'll see that you don't love him. And you're just trying to put him down. And you're trying to fight him. And he's not going to like you. And he's not going to do tshuva. However, be mechiach and tell him you are a chacham, you're great, you live really in a way of wisdom, in a way of chachma, the real way of chachma, that's what you really want. But you have the Yetzer Hara, and never you're doing something which is not your derech chachma, but you are a chacham. He will understand that you love him, and he will also love you. And he'll accept the techacha because he feels you're not against him, you're not fighting him, you're not trying to put him down. And even more than that, he's going to do tshuva, and maybe even tshuva me'ava, and he's going to really love you because you brought him to such madregas of tshuva. Rabbi Isai, this is what Moshe Rabbeinu is teaching over here, and there's a beautiful piece of Kliyakar. The Kliyakar says, Eila dvarim asher diber Moshe kol Yisrael, doesn't say B'nei Yisrael, because Moshe Rabbeinu was speaking to those that be named Yisrael, Al Shem Yisrael, Savo Yankev Avinu, the great Bali Madrega of Klal Yisrael, the great Mashpian. And he tells them, you know what, how you should give Musar, he's saying. Meaning, give it beremes. Don't fight the Jewish people. Give it in a way they'll understand it on their own, but they'll feel that you're with them. You're not trying to put them down. You're not trying to be mashpil them and therefore say things out mefurish. But more than that, do it in a way of kavod Yisrael. Teach them that the chet is not them. It's only a hint of the chet, not the actual chet. And that they have really a tremendous world of kavod, and that's what they really are. Then v'yavecha, that's the way to do it. And this is what the Kliyakar tells us, and that's what we learn over here in this week's parsha at the beginning. And this is what answers the question. It's true that afterwards, Moshe Rabbeinu was very marich, but once he shows it that the Indian of the chet is only a remez dikazach, so then in that case it makes no difference. You can say the chet at the length as much as you want, but Klal Yisrael remain with kvodim shel Yisrael, and they understand that they only have hints to the chet and not the chet itself, because that's not shaykh to them. Rabbi Isai, this is a great message we have to learn in these days. In the days of Achad Asa Yom Chayriv, When you have the 11 days that come out of Korban, which is the way the Kliyakar says the Remez in this beginning of the Parsha, and those are Asar B'Tevis, Shivas V'Tammuz in 9 days, is 11 days. And we have to turn them into Sasan al-Simcha. And we know the way that the Korban came about, especially Korban Bayis Sheni, is the Gemara that says about Bar Kamsa, Boy Urei Koicha Shabusha. See what it means to be Mevayeh Shayid. It's true, Bar Kamsa was no great man. He was worthy to be hated a bit, but he should be also, but he's a Yid. He has Nikudas Toivos, he has good things in himself, and if you would look at him as good, you maybe can bring him back, and you can make him about tshuva. You never know what you can make out of him. And instead, you may push him down, just be mashpil him, and that did nothing, and it only brought sinah, and it was sinah schina. And Rabbi said, this is what we read. This parsha, on Shabbos Chazoin, right before Tisha B'Av, we want to return to Hashem and return and the world to its completion, to the way it should be. We want to switch the darkness into light. What is the way we're going to do it? We're going to learn the message of Moshe Rabbeinu, Bamidbar Barava Mosuf, and we could say, he's speaking to us. He's telling to us, you should know the honor that you have. You should know the honor of your friend. You should know the honor of every Yid. And you should know it's the Chatoim only Remez. And in that case, we'll love every Yid because we see only good in every Yid. And it's going to bring Avas Chinam. It's no Avas Chinam because it'll be Ava, real Ava. And this way, we be Zoiche, that these days be Nefach L'Sasan L'Simcha. We're going to be Zoiche to the beautiful prophecies of Lasid Lavai. And everything will turn around. Everything will be great. And we are changing ourselves around. We'll change the world around. We'll change the darkness into light. And we'll be Zoiche Mitzvah Hashem. And these days, we'll turn it to Sasan or Simcha Me'adim Yom Tovim. And be Zoiche to Binyan Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi. And to the Gula Ashleima. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Goyel Achroin. We're going to give us the chizuk of how to come to the Gula Achroina through bringing ourselves to Achdus and to Avas Yisrael. Bimheira B'yameinu. Amen. Kei Yehi Ratzain. Good Shabbos Chazoin to everyone. And a Freilach and Tisha B'Av we should be Zoiche to.